Hey guys, Stay Patient here with this week's trophy update. You'll have to forgive my voice, I'm a bit hoarse this morning, sounding a bit like Barry White again. But I'm also going to be off the webcam because last night we lost an hour. It was the day that our clocks go forward. And I do have things that, I need to do at certain times on Sundays. I have to be out at certain times. So just to speed this up, I'm going to leave the webcam just for this week. I would like to hear your feedback though on whether you prefer it with a webcam or not, because of course when I include it, it does just block part of the screen and might kind of cover up things that you may want to be looking at. But if you do like having me there on camera, then obviously let me know either way, just because if it really makes no difference to you and you'd rather have the full screen on display, then it would make my job easier. It makes for less editing and stuff. I'm happy to do it either way, but at least, after today, after watching an episode without the webcam, you can let me know how you prefer it and I'll stick with that from now on. We've got a lot of games to get through today though. Lots of games have been added, nothing really key. There's one or two sort of fairly big titles, but nothing like no big AAA releases. But there's tons of stuff here. We're not actually going to have time to cover all of it. But we finished off last week with The Inner World, which was the point and click adventure that looks nice and easy. It's not been released yet, I don't think. We've got this game here, This Is the Police, no platinum. This has been out on PC for a while, and it's got about a 65% average review score. I watched a trailer for it, which we're not going to watch together now because it wouldn't really make a lot of sense without the voiceover, commentary. But it looks kind of interesting. It's referred to, I think, as a strategy adventure game. Basically, there's a lot of, interaction, like dialogue and stuff where you're answering questions at press conferences and things like that. And then you've got map screens where you're sending police to cover certain areas. And it looks sort of interesting. It looks different, at least. And the trophies, I can't actually remember. I've literally looked at all the trophies this morning. It's very difficult to tell what the trophies require. I just thought I'd point it out because if you wanted to check out a trailer in your own time, you can do. It's not exactly a big game, but it just kind of stuck out to me because it looked rather interesting. Heroes of the Monkey Tavern. This has 2 stacking lists. I'm guessing it's probably Europe and North America. This is a first-person dungeon crawler. So again, we're not going to bother with the trailer for this because it's only a little kind of fiddly release. I'm not sure if anyone would be interested in it, but if you really like dungeon crawlers, it looks fairly basic, but it might be your type of thing. What else have we got here? Where did we get to? You can see how many games have released. It's a huge list here. Sidekicks is a Japanese Vita game, even though it's got an English title, it's very Japanese. We got a bunch of Japanese stuff that's been released this week, actually. Obviously, we've got another Arcade Archives game here, which looks nice and easy. Art of Fighting there, 88% average completion. In fact, I'm going to check because I didn't realise until recently that there are 2 types of trophy sets for these games. Some of them have these trophies for reaching a certain score, and some of them don't, basically. They have other much simpler trophies in their place. But this one, you do have to reach a certain score there, but 43.5% on PSN, 85% on this website. It's going to be very straightforward, I'd say. We've got more Japanese stuff here, very Japanese games. We've got this one, Use Your Words. Now we're going to check out a trailer for this. Now again, this one, I think it's already started. Let's go back to the start. The first few seconds of this kind of explain what's going on because there's a guy doing a voiceover for it. He basically says, like, are you bored with your card games or whatever? Do you want to play a game? I don't know, he explains it. It's kind of weird. It's basically, in this instance, they're using their mobile phones. Now, I'm not sure if this is how it works on PS4, but this is the PS4 trailer. Maybe they've just used the trailer from the phone version of the game. But, I'm guessing... Actually, you know what? You probably would need to use your phones for this because you need to be able to type things in without anyone else seeing it. So basically, you look at kind of pictures and videos and stuff, and you need to put in like a joke, slogan or tagline or whatever, and then you get points from your teammates or your competitors or whatever. They score you, they have to choose their favourite one and stuff like that. So I guess it's like a comedy game, a comedy writing game. It says here you can use the house decoy if you can't think of anything. And then I think it's something along the lines of, if someone votes for yours, then they lose points, something like that. I don't know. It looks very simple though. I mean, the reason I look at this, the reason I point it out is apart from the fact that it looks like it might be fun as a party game, the trophies look insanely easy, because as long as you've got six phones, maybe. I was thinking you'd need 6 controllers, but I suppose you would need 6 phones. So you'd need like a bunch of people who are willing to help you hunt trophies, which would be a bit weird, like getting your family members and friends round who aren't gamers to come and help you pop some trophies on some random party game. But basically, if you've got 6 people or 6 input devices, however it works on PS4, then you'll be able to pop all of these trophies just by setting things up for yourself. So things like getting a certain amount of points in a session, you can literally just have one player win it, player 1 just win it over and over. Everything really, we're not even going to look through it because these are so simple. Have 6 players write the same answer. My mouse is playing up. Okay, seems a bit off skew there. Anyway, it looks very, very easy if you've got enough people that can help you out with it. So that's use your words. Rewrite. This is one of the Japanese games I'm going to point out. In the trophy guide on PS3imports.org, is it .org or .com? I forget. Anyway, they give it like a 6 to 10 hours completion time. It's a visual novel, and the reason I point it out is because although most of the visual novels, the Japanese ones, are super easy, they're mostly on Vita. And of course, because you can't play games from one account on another account, if they're downloadable, you couldn't buy them from the Japanese store on Vita and then play them on your account. You'd have to buy a hard copy, and that's very, very expensive. With the PS4 games, though, usually you can buy them on the Japanese store if you've got a Japanese account. And you can see here, most people are around like 4 hours. So this is very easy, very, pretty quick Japanese visual novel. And like I say, you'll be able to hopefully download it for a bit cheaper than importing it on disc. And I think it's a bit more reputable than a lot of them. It's got a bit of a higher reputation, something that might actually be worth playing, like some of the Japanese games of that type. We've got MLB The Show 17 here. Now, 2016's version of this was insanely hard, apparently. So that's among the hardest platinums on PS4. I'm guessing this is probably going to be at least pretty tough. It may well be just as difficult this year, who knows. Drawn to Death, this is one of the games we're going to focus on. Now, if you search for the Drawn to Death PS4 trailer, then you get, a lot of old videos. You get ones from a couple of years ago when they spoke about it at, I think it was PSX in 2014, near the end of the year. So you've got some gameplay being shown off there. That was literally the first time they showed gameplay. And since then, we do have this one, Drawn to Death Inside Look, but this is, 5 minutes long. Release date trailer. So this is going to be like making of and everything. Let's just kind of skip through this one and see what they're talking about or see what they're covering. There's a lot of, interview type stuff, making of stuff. Let's just flick through to some gameplay. Now, I think this is gameplay probably from PSX as well, unless it's more recent, but it looks really cool. It's a very awesome visual style, It's obviously a multiplayer. I think it's only 4 players at once, so rather than being too chaotic and trying to keep up with this awesome graphical style with loads of stuff going on, I think they've kept it fairly simple at like a 4-player free-for-all, basically. I think there are different game modes. In fact, there are, because there's trophies that imply it. But, I mean, it looks... How cool does this look, seriously? The idea is that you're playing the characters that have been drawn in some kid's, school book. And I'm not sure if you can go about sort of drawing your own characters. That would be very cool. Maybe that will be a feature for the sequel, but yeah, it looks awesome. We're not going to watch all of this, obviously, but you get the idea. It's kind of very much a shooter, but a brawler at the same time. There's a lot of melee combat and powers and weapons and stuff. So yeah, I mean, looks like a lot of fun. Let's have a look at the trophies together. Here they are here, look. It might have been on beta. I might have just missed it. Maybe you can let us know in the comments if you heard about a beta or maybe even played it. So trophy-wise, there's a lot of trophies that look like you need to kind of know where things are, like hidden items, Easter eggs, stuff like that. There are also trophies for doing quite well in games, in matches, but they don't look too difficult. And I'm wondering if you might be able to set up private matches. If you can, this is going to be a super, super easy platinum trophy. So you've got get your first kill, 50 kills, kill the hand. I think that's probably a power-up or something. Play and finish 10 matches, get first in a match. Now all of these have higher versions of the trophies, I think. Deposit 10 hearts in an organ donor match. They've actually used the wrong word there. It should be an organ donor match. I'm a bit finicky with stuff like that. So that's probably like capture the flag or something, where you're all trying to race and grab this heart and then put it in your base or whatever, maybe in your toilet, as indicated by the picture there. But like I say, this is a kind of trophy that if you can boost this in a private match, especially because it only requires 4 people, maybe you can play it with less, maybe you can play it with 2 people. So if you download the game, you've got 2 PS4s or a friend with one, you can just split through it. If they allow you to earn trophies in private matches, that's going to be the key question about this. Although I think even if you play it legit, you should be fine. Training there, discover the lost in shooting gallery. So there's a lot of stuff like that, like destroy 3 moon rocks in shooting gallery. Use all alien warps, including the secret ones, in one match. Discover Granny's terrible secret. There's lots of ones like this, kind of, little secrets that you have to find in each map. Get 100 kills, 50 kills with 3 different characters, 50 kills with the hand. Do 3,000 points of damage with special attacks. Finish 20 matches. First place in 7 matches. I think there's another one like that as well. Yeah, here we are. Get first place in 25 matches and play 50 matches there. So there's a lot of kind of stacking trophies. Just by playing and winning a bunch of matches, you'll get quite a lot of trophies along the way. Get 600 kills, okay. Get 1 character level 15 and complete all that character's missions. You need to do that with all of them, I think. Get 2 characters level 15 and complete their missions. The missions, I'm guessing, are like little challenges along the way. Maybe use their certain abilities a certain number of times, stuff like that. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing it'd be something along those lines. Solve all the Sphinx's riddles. I don't know what that could be. This is the one that stands out to me. Reach floor 15 of a ranked tower. Now, I'm guessing this is some kind of co-op mode where you team up and you're fighting AI. Now, I haven't heard about that and I haven't researched it to find out exactly how it plays or what it's referring to. But floor 15 of a ranked tower, unless you're playing against other people, and if you win or you come top 2, you go up a floor or something. But this strikes me, because it says ranked, this strikes me as probably, this could be one of the tricky trophies in the game, depending on how hard it is to do. But it could well be, or, it more than likely is something that you wouldn't be able to boost or anything like that. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad, especially if you can play in private matches. But either way, I think that's going to be one that we can definitely make our way through if we put the time in. What have we got here? We've got old time hockey. This is, just an ice hockey game. They call it old time because that kind of gives them an excuse for having, old looking graphics, basically. It's obviously a small studio that hasn't got a huge budget. So they made a basic hockey game. It looks fun. It looks fine, It doesn't look bad. It just looks a bit old, which is why they called it this. I don't think there was much I could tell about the trophies when I looked at it. Oh, it is mostly like single player based, so don't worry too much about online stuff. Most of this here is all referring to story mode, and I think there's like mini games between the matches or something, because there's a lot of references to that kind of stuff. But it looks okay. Where is it? Where do we get to? Old time hockey. Has Been Heroes looks cool. Now this actually has 2 stacking trophy lists that have been added this week, so I'm guessing 2 different regions. There is a voiceover explaining what kind of game it is, basically, but he just refers to the fact that it's, what's the word? Oh, crumbs. It's roguelike. Sorry, I totally drew a blank there. It's roguelike, so once you die, you're dead. But it looks really cool. It's kind of like an RPG crossed with almost like column defense, a bit like Plants vs. Zombies. I think so. I think these characters that you're playing as are only attacking enemies in their column, although maybe there's some splash damage and stuff like that, but it looks fun. It's from the developers of Trine, and they make some good games, the Trine games were very good. Oh, that guy, I think that guy just threw a fireball across to another column. But I think for the most part, you're kind of doing attacks in a straight line. So there's a lot of strategy involved here. And I don't know, it just kind of stood out to me. It looked like a potentially really fun game. I'm guessing because it's roguelike, it's probably going to be quite difficult. You can tell from the trophies if we have a look at them. When I looked at the trophies, I was actually forgetting which game I was on. I thought I was on Rain World, so I was like applying the trophies to the wrong game. But I took another look, and there's basically pretty much 3 or 4 trophies in this game that you have to worry about. The rest will just come naturally along the way, so that's quite nice. Basically, the first trophy is for completing the game 7 times. Now, when I thought that this was a different game, I was like, wow, that's a lot of times just to play the same game. But when I realised it was this one, it makes a lot more sense, because I'm guessing with it being roguelike, you need to kind of finish it and survive the whole game, and then start over, maybe like a New Game Plus type thing. And I'm guessing you need to do 7 playthroughs in a row without dying. So you need to be able to kind of keep going to New Game Plus and keep surviving each playthrough rather than just doing one and then ending and starting a brand new one. I don't know if that's the case, but it makes total sense with a roguelike game, because that's the whole point. You're supposed to try and get as far as you can without failing. So you need to finish it 7 times. That's basically all of those first trophies covered. In fact, it is all those first trophies covered. You've got to unlock the Black Knight, Thanatos. I don't know how that happens, but that's a separate trophy. I think that's a gold one, so I'm guessing that's, quite involved. Then we have a bunch of stuff here for unlocking skins for the different characters. And if we scroll down, you'll notice here, unlock all skins, items, spells, enemies, and map pieces. So that's a gold trophy that basically covers everything else, apart from, I think, probably this one. Unlock the Magician Idran. So I'm guessing he either counts as an enemy or he counts as a usable character. Now, if he's a usable character, then that means that he's a separate thing altogether, along with Black Knight Thanatos, but they might both be enemies, so they might both also be included in this trophy here. Now, the rest of the trophies are all these ones here: fulfill the Grand Soul Orb up to 100 times. So basically, in this game, you need to finish it 7 times, probably in a row. You need to fulfill the Grand Soul Orb 100 times, which will cover all these trophies, whatever that means. And then you need to unlock everything, pretty much. And you've got these other 2 characters that are either included in this trophy or not, depending on whether they're enemies or not. So it's a real simple, when I say simple, I mean like simple to understand trophy set. It's simple to keep track of, you know what you're doing, because you only have like 2 or 3 things you actually have to worry about. But it might end up being difficult. It's not necessarily simple from a difficulty point of view, because it really depends how the game plays and how hard they've made it. So let's go back to the list here, carry on going. You can see there's a second list for has-been heroes. So there's 2 stacking regional lists if you want to play it twice. We have got Rain World. Now, this is the game that I thought I was looking at when I saw all those trophies for, completing the game 7 times. I was like, wow, you've got to get through this 7 times for some reason. But I think the trophies for this are quite difficult to comprehend, until you've played the game. It looks really fun, though. It looks like a really nice art style. When it starts off here, it sort of reminds me of Limbo, that kind of thing. There's not a lot of action, but there's a lot of platforming, a lot of interaction with the environment. But then as you get through it, you start to get a lot more action happening with a lot of enemies on screen and stuff like that. I think what you're controlling, it looks very much like a cat. I don't think it is, but it's that kind of thing. You can climb sort of poles and stuff. And it just looks really cool. The animation's awesome. I really like the art style. It's kind of pixel art. If you look really closely, you'll notice that, the character himself is almost quite jagged. The art style he's quite pixelated, but I don't think it is pixels. I think he's deliberately been made to look like that without actually using pixel art. There's the creature you're playing as, some kind of weird, I don't even know what that's meant to be honest. But I don't know, something kind of appeals to me about this game. I'm not sure what this slow motion bit's all about, but kind of comes in after the game's been, after the names come up and everything. Yeah, it just looks different, it looks nice. It looks sort of more smooth and flowing than a typical platformer, because you're playing as this creature that can grab hold of poles and kind of, I guess, shimmy up ledges and stuff. It just looks a bit more flowing. Anyway, odd game, but looks kind of interesting. Trophy-wise, like I said, I don't think it's... all the trophies are quite cryptic. So I think there's a bunch of story-related ones here, but it's difficult to tell what each one is, to be honest. That's probably the one for completing the game, the gold one there. This looks like maybe a hidden area. Go west past the farm arrays and then down deep into the earth. It looks like directions to a hidden location, a bit like in Limbo. There was like a hidden sort of section to the... Was it Limbo? I think it was Limbo. You had to go into a dark cave that you couldn't actually see. You had to know it was there. Then there was like a difficult platforming section. But yeah, I don't know how tough it's going to be. But it looks cool. It looks like a nice little game. Well to the west here, let's take a look at a trailer for this. According to the title of this one, it's not out till May. But the reason we're looking at this is because I think it's probably going to be another straightforward one. Sodesco, they do a lot of the easy plats. I think they did... Oh, crumbs, what was that game that's kind of like Uncharted, but a poor man's... Adam's Venture, that's it. And I think they did Nero as well. They do a lot of games with easy plats. But this is basically a platformer by the looks of it with, I think, 4 different characters. They all have different abilities and stuff. Quite often games like this, with simple art styles and basic platforming are quite easy. Unless they're sadistic and they just make it appeal to kids but make it far too difficult for them. But I don't know, it looks alright. I think some games like this can be deceiving in the sense that you think, it looks almost like a PS2 game, and it kind of puts you off. But then you play it and it actually plays really well. Some games can be, simple graphically, but really tight when it comes to gameplay and controls and everything, and really well crafted. Hopefully it's a good game, and hopefully it's a nice, easy, or at least doable platinum. Looks okay. It's nice to have some platformers coming out. We've got Ukulele on its way, and hopefully some more Ratchet and Clank someday. Fingers crossed. When it comes to trophies here, let's have a look. I can't remember looking through this one actually. I think it's similar to the last one we looked at, Rain World or whatever it's called. A lot of, descriptive trophies that don't tell you what the trophy requires. It's just more a case of telling you what's involved in the trophy in a sense that you only understand when you play it, mission-based stuff and things like that. Yeah, there's nothing here that you can really go on without playing the game or following a guide. So good luck with that. If you dive into it, you'll probably just be popping trophies naturally and not really understanding what you did to earn them. We've got Harvest Moon here, a Wonderful Life Special Edition. This is really cool because the Harvest Moon games were beloved by so many people back on like PS2. I think they were re-released without trophies on PS3, but here they are with trophies. I was looking through this link earlier, this sort of forum post. People were basically stating that, let's have a look. People who've played the game have looked through the trophy set and they said that they could easily make it a lot harder, but it looks fairly doable. It looks not exactly easy, but there are, a few trophies that might take a bit of time. But for the most part, they're basically saying that it looks, like here, apart from the sprites, digging all blocks, and the bargain trophy looks like a list that any seasoned player would just do naturally anyway. So, there's a few trophies that might take a bit of time, take a bit of focus, but for the most part, as I was looking through it, a lot of it is just doing things for the first time. Having a cow give birth, catching a fish, winning games here, territory capture, winning milk drinking contests, planting crops. A lot of very simple trophies, and there's going to be a few that might be a bit trickier. But for the most part, I think if you enjoy the game and stick with it, it looks like a very, very doable platinum, which is nice because quite often games like this throw in very difficult trophies and very long-winded ones, a bit like Stardew Valley. For those of you unfamiliar with Harvest Moon, it's basically a Stardew Valley type game where you're running a farm, you're growing crops and breeding animals and stuff, but it's also an RPG. So, I've not actually played it. I will admit I've never actually played a Harvest Moon game. It's one of my sort of blind spots when it comes to old like PlayStation franchises. But I think I might jump on that one if I've got time for it. It looks like a lot of fun. Baila Latino, just a dancing game. We're not going to bother looking at that. What have we got here? I'm pretty much going to skim through the rest of them. We've only got a few games with platinums anyway. Salt and Sanctuary here is obviously a Vita release of an existing game on PS4, so it's not a new release as such. It's just a stacking trophy list. Parappa the Rapper Remastered, you'll be really happy to see that this has a platinum. A lot of people are really looking forward to this because it's going to be so nostalgic going back and playing this. I'm not sure how tough it's going to be. It's been so long, and I don't really think I spent a lot of time with it. In fact, I think my experience of the game might have been based on a demo at the time. I used to buy demo discs via the PlayStation magazine, the official one. And I do remember this being a lot of fun, but I don't remember completing it or anything like that. So I won't really be able to tell you how tough these trophies are going to be, but it is awesome to see that it's got a plat. A lot of people have been asking and saying, I really hope, the remaster does have a platinum. I didn't think it would have. I really, really did not think it would. So that's really cool that it does. What else have we got here? This is another big one. This is going to be like one of the easy platinums this week. Obviously, we've already spoken about the word. What is it? Use Your Words, whatever it's called. There it is. This is Nightmares from the Deep 2, The Siren's Call. Now, the first one did take a bit of time. I think it was up around 8 hours. But, of course, this is another game from Artifex Mundi. It doesn't have the developer here for some reason. But, Artifex Mundi, they've been pumping out games recently. They've done, obviously, Clockwork Tales. They've done Enigmatis. There's been another game from them recently. I forget the name of it, but we spoke about it, I think, last week or the week before. And it feels like they're releasing a game almost every other week at this point. And these are all the kind of hidden item games, puzzle games and stuff. So this is very likely to be another super easy platinum, to be honest. We've got all the typical trophies here. Finishing puzzles quickly, not skipping, pretty much the same trophy list as all the other ones. Hidden object scene in a minute. Basically getting through the games by doing some puzzles quickly and then making sure to not use any hints or anything. Mahjong. It's got Mahjong. A lot of people don't like games that have a Mahjong sort of mini game involved. But I guess we're going to have to, dust off our knowledge of that Japanese game. Is it Japanese or Chinese? I forget. Anyway, there's collectibles as well. So let's have a look. It's quite a long trophy list, actually, for an Artifex Mundi game. But yeah, nice and easy, probably, I'm guessing. So there we go, guys. Oh, we've got Skyforge as well. I know, this was, this is a stacking list for a game we spoke about last week, I think. This is a game that I mentioned looked like a MOBA, but it's actually an RPG, I believe. I believe that's that one, but we have already spoken about that. It looks really cool, actually. I think that might be the free-to-play one. Anyway, that's everything we're going to talk about this week, guys. There's a chance that I might not be doing a show next week. If that is the case, then I do apologise. I have a friend who I haven't seen for a long time who might have the weekend free to be able to come down and visit. So if that's the case, I'll be hanging out with him. I don't want to spend all day Sunday recording and editing a video. I might be able to kind of do it later on in the week, or I might just leave it, if there aren't a huge number of games that have been added next week, then I may just sort of leave it till the following week and kind of double up and cover all the games from both weeks in that one video, just kind of speed through it all. But yeah, either way, guys, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the rest of the content throughout the week. And of course, on Wednesday, we'll be covering next month's PS Plus games, which will be cool. But until then, guys, have a good one. I'll catch you soon. Cheers.